Hey, what's up guys? My name's Chris Winter, and in this video, I'm going to do an in-depth comparison between two very popular budget DSLRs. Firstly, the brand new Canon T6, and also the very popular Nikon D3300. Now, if you guys didn't know, I'm actually giving away a Canon 80D or a Sony a6300 to a subscriber, so make sure to hit that subscribe button to enter. And guys, also definitely make sure to check out my new list, the top 5 best beginner DSLRs. Now, both of these cameras make it, but they don't come in at number 1. So if you want to see what does come in at number 1, I'll put a link in the description box below and you can check it out. But anyway, let's compare these two great entry-level DSLRs. So let's start off this comparison by taking a look at the build quality and features of both of these cameras. Now, the first thing that you're going to notice is that both of these cameras are very small. Now, if you've never used a DSLR before, you might actually think that they're quite big, but compared to bigger DSLRs like the Nikon D7300 or the Canon 80D, these are actually really quite small in comparison. And that's actually a really good thing, especially when you're traveling or when you don't want to carry around a big camera body, because they're a lot easier to take. Now, both cameras are nicely weighted and would work well with the kit lenses like the 18 to 55mm or even a 50mm f1.8 lens. On the top, both cameras have mode dials on the right hand side here. As you'd expect, they each have a number of different beginner modes like portrait and landscape, but they also allow you to go into full manual mode and other different manual modes for when you want to get a little bit serious with your camera. They've also both got inbuilt flashes, which is nice when you're in lower light conditions. So in general, there's not really a big difference in the build quality of both of these cameras, and it's probably going to be your first DSLR, so you'll probably feel right at home with either of these two systems. So let's flip these cameras around now and talk about the LCD screens on the back of these cameras. Now, unfortunately, both of these cameras are lacking an articulating screen, or a flippy-outy screen that some people like to call it, that you'd find on higher-end models. And that's a little bit of a pity because it can be a little bit more difficult to see the screen when you're taking a shot from down low or up high. But one positive side of that is that it's really going to make you use the viewfinder a bit more, the thing up here, which is something that a lot of beginners aren't really used to. Now, unfortunately, both cameras are also lacking a touchscreen as well, which is something I would like to see in the next versions. But both screens are really quite good, although I did find that the Canon did have a little bit better screen, especially outdoors in some brighter sunlight. Now guys, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely make sure to check out my top 5 list of the best beginner DSLRs. The link will be in the description box below. But anyway, let's get back on to this review. Now let's talk about battery life quickly, and I actually did find that the Nikon D3300 did perform a little bit better than the Canon T6, but not by a long shot. The biggest difference is when shooting video, where the Nikon did have quite a little bit more battery life. But in terms of stills shooting, so just taking stills photographs, they both performed really quite similarly, and they should last for a full day of shooting for most occasions. Now, if you guys want to see some sample photos I've taken with the Canon T6 and the Nikon D3300, I'll put a link in the description box below and you can check it out in your own time. So let's talk about using these cameras for video now. Now, if you haven't used a DSLR for filming video before, both of these cameras will be great to get used to it. They both produce some really nice video quality, especially for such budget cameras. In fact, I made a video using the Canon T6 the other day, and I've got to say I was really impressed with how it turned out. In good lighting conditions where it's not too dark, the T6 to me was nearly as good as the likes of the Canon T6i or even the Canon 70D, which is pretty impressive considering those cameras are nearly double the price of the Canon T6. Now, one area though where I think the Nikon D3300 does have the upper edge on the Canon T6 is on the side here. The D3300 comes standard with a mic jack, which means you can plug in a microphone to get better audio. If you're only planning on shooting the occasional video, then that's not going to be an issue at all. But if you want to start making YouTube videos, or if you want to get into the world of DSLR video, that's a nice bonus on the Nikon D3300. Now let's talk about the burst modes on both of these cameras. So both of these cameras aren't exactly the fastest firing DSLRs around, but they will allow you to capture a few fast photos in succession. The Nikon D3300 is a little bit faster than the Canon. It can shoot 5 shots per second compared to just 3 on the T6. Just for reference sake, this is what 5 frames per second sounds like on the Nikon D3300. And this is what 3 sounds like on the Canon T6. For most people, especially if you just get into the world of DSLR photography, I think that taking 3 shots per second is going to be more than enough. But if you know that you're going to be shooting a lot of sports, say you're going to be shooting your kid's soccer game or something, maybe the Nikon D3300 might be a little bit better for you. I did, however, find that the Canon T6 did perform a little bit better in autofocus though. It was a little bit quicker and it was also a little bit better at tracking subjects. Now, both of these cameras aren't going to be the absolute best cameras for autofocus, but they do work really quite well. Now, I quickly want to talk about Wi-Fi, and one of the great features on the brand new Canon T6 is its inclusion of Wi-Fi and NFC. And this allows you to transfer your photos quickly to your phone so you can upload them to Facebook or Instagram or message them to your friends. And I think that the Canon T6 is a great camera for that. Now, unfortunately, the Nikon D3300 doesn't come with either Wi-Fi or NFC. So if you do know that you want to be sharing your photos with your friends via Wi-Fi, you'll probably want to go for the Canon T6. So the big question is, which one should you buy? Well, to me, both cameras performed great for the price, and I'd recommend both if you're just getting into the world of photography. If you need better battery life, that faster burst rate, and also the mic jack on the side, I'd look towards the Nikon D3300. But if you like the idea of Wi-Fi, having faster autofocus, and also some really good video quality, I'd look towards the Canon T6. So guys, definitely make sure to check out my new list, the top 5 best beginner DSLRs. That link will be in the description box below under this video. And also definitely make sure to subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.